So shall I start or should we wait for someone? I think Daniel is missing or
Yeah, I was on the phone with him. He's gonna be there soon.
so we can start, right?
Uh,
Okay, perfect. So any doubts last time? Did you try to see whatever we discussed? Did you try to implement something? And it was just a generalized introduction. And this lecture will also be some kind of introduction with some kind of practical small task, how we can encrypt, how we can decrypt on the Kali Linux, how actually the files are getting transferred. uh, I don't assure you I'm gonna give you the exact demonstration and very much detailed things, because I cannot do it in 30 hours, but I assure you like the concepts will be clear. And in any kind of interview, in any kind of implementation, they just ask the basics, the core basics. If the core is clear with you, you are good with anything, believe me. Like in any interview, they just see your foundation, how clear you are with the basic. They don't want you to explain the algorithm, start making it, start writing its program, and no, not at all. So they will just see your knowledge, how much your basic is clear, how much core you know, how much the foundation, because all the tools, all the distributions, everything, each and everything is based on just the core. So if you're clear with core, if you know about TCP protocol, if you know about layers, if you know about encryption, and if you know about security, it's good for you. Uh, So last time we did confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality again prevents the unauthorized access. Basically, we don't want, if you have a file, we don't want someone else to see that. Basically, in confidentiality, the attack could be like man in the middle attack. So imagine that you're at home, you are surfing a website, like WhatsApp messages you are sending, if they are not encrypted, for example, if the messages are like not at all, they are sent via plain text. So what if by chance, by your luck, I am at your home, for example, I'm living with you like as a roommate or flatmate. So you posted ad on Kijiji, and I'm living with you. By chance, I'm your flatmate or apartment. I'm living sharing the apartment. So basically, if WhatsApp is not encrypting, I can see your whole messages, what conversation you are doing, for example. So right now, even we have a router, we are sending, communicating everything. It's because of the confidentiality, we cannot see each other's information. Though we can see, like if we have the access to router, we can see how what websites my roommate is visiting, what he's trying to. It's a bit tricky in that case, but still we can do that. We'll try to explore a Wireshark tool. We'll try to see today what's going within the Wireshark, how it's sending the data, how we can analyze the data. Integrity. So basically, integrity, I told you last time. Basically, the data shouldn't be tampered. If I am sending hi, it should be hi. It shouldn't be hello. I am not tampering. I'm not changing the data. I'm not doing anything with the data. So for that, we have various methods. We'll talk about that. Availability, again, I told you about Amazon is giving, for example, 99.9% availability. So such kind of scenarios we want in our daily based life, that there isn't downtime. For example, if Microsoft Teams is down today, right now, for exactly this point of time, 6:10. So for example, Teams is hosted on one of the server and the server is down. So on the Microsoft, you can imagine how much impact it can bring to the Microsoft, how much loss it can bring to the Microsoft. All the classes which are running right now with the Microsoft Teams all over the world will get cancelled. All the meetings will get cancelled. All the appointments of all the interviews which are going on meetings, or WebEx or any kind of platform like this. So this thing is comes under the availability. So we should have that uh, guarantee that our facility and our application won't get down at any point of time. due to any of the reason. For example, for is the services are crashed or the power supply or because there was too much traffic or any kind of issue with that which degrades or disrupt the services of the application. Clear? So this is the main goal of the last lecture, CIA, which everyone will ask you most probably, like how you can prevent confidentiality, how you can ensure the integrity, what is availability, how again my personal experience, they ask me here like for 10 minutes. We'll talk about access control. So the main goal is we'll talk about these three things: authentication, authorization, and accountability. Very clear who can log in. If you talk about if you log into the Facebook, so authentication means who can log in. Authorization means once you're logged in, what can you authorize? What so whenever you log into the Scotiabank app, you don't see someone else's account. Do you see like I log into my account? Can I see like next person's account or my roommate's account? If he's on a bank, he also has account on bank. So that means I'm authorized to my account only. I'm not authorized to someone else. So this is very important in as a part of access control, how much access you want to give. Authentication is first. I should be able to log into my account only. Authorization means I should be authorized to see my account information only. So accountability means if I've done some transaction, if I've sent some money to someone, then I am accountable for that. Basically, because I sent the money, because I had the login credentials and I was authorized to send the money. That's why it's for sure I am accountable for that. I am the one who sent it. Clear? So next, authentication, you know about, I'll be very quick in these things. We have to talk a lot of things in today's lecture, so I'll be a bit fast in this thing. Uh, Authentication means who can log in. You have to provide the identity. Basically, whenever you tap, even on the Opus card, whenever you are on the metro, so it's basically a token is associated. You can think of that token basically as a key. I don't have it right now, but there is a serial number associated with most of the RF cards, RFID cards, or any kind of tap cards or any kind of access cards. Basically, those tokens are doing the authentication for you on the metro, or whenever you have credit card, whenever you tap on that. Basically, there is one token which is sent over the web, and that token is basically authenticating you. You're getting authenticated via that token. Even though it's a card, like for example, is a PIN number. Whenever you go to the shopping or you provide your email ID or your PayPal access or anything like that, any kind of transaction you do, it's authenticating you. You can have various sources of authentication. So to provide the identity, what you need to know is basically it could be passwords, paraphrase, or PIN. It could be what you have token. You could have RFID. You can have smart cards, passports, and who you are. With the biometrics, we can do that. So based on the three parameters, we can authenticate a person's identity. So you must present either of the following for to any. So guys, ever in your life, if you have worked in IT or if you have friends working in ID, have you seen the RSA token with them, like a key kind of thing with them, with a unique number all the time? Anyone?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
So basically that is also a way to log in. It's authentication mechanism. Like we can get authenticating using that card. So example of these token is e-token. You can have RFID normally, cards, smart cards, fingerprint scanners. Um, so trusted network, we'll talk about this. So basically, we'll talk about how we can trust a network, how we can, if you comes and I mean, you come to college and log in, how you can say that, okay, your data is not being tracked, whatever you open on Google Chrome or anything like that, your data is safe and all. We'll talk about this. There are various mechanisms. We can have firewall intrusion detection, or if we have some kind of ransomware attack or malware attack or denial of service attack. So how we can prevent them and how we can build the trust. This is about the trust, basically strong authentication and PKI. PKI is, we'll talk about this, public key infrastructure. Strong authentication, again, passwords, this you can read. I'll share you the slides and you can do that. So nowadays, two-factor authentication is getting used with the username and password. You also give the one-time password. As you have seen on the phone, it asks you for OTP. So it's a part of the authentication mechanism. So we can have multi-factor authentication. I know it's getting some kind of most theory, but it's you have to go through this. Authorization, again, user rights to the permission, how much permissions they have, typically done after that user has been authenticated. Once it's authentication, we provide the domain of the guy. So okay, guy, you are authorized to access this part only. So that's where the authorization comes into part. Access criteria, we have some roles, groups, location, time, transaction. Next. So client service, in here, authentication versus authorization. Basically, authentication is like who you are. Again, authorization means what you can access. So client is just having the authentication mechanism. Once it is authenticated, these services are provided. These services are basically authorized to that guy, to the client. So once it's getting authenticated, it goes to the service. Again, service will authorize. This diagram is clear. So there are some concept for authorization. So use authorization creep. So when the user have like unnecessarily high privileges, for example, in the organization, uh, let's say there is X organization, it has the sales department, for example. So the sales department, if we give the admin permissions to the sales department, that will be called as the authorization creep. So basically, they are not supposed to have the admin permissions in any of the environment, but still they have. That means it's authorization key. Default to 0. So basically, we should have all of the, for example, all the students, all the staff, everyone should have like the 0 access at starting. And then we can add the layers. We can add like role based access model. We can provide them like, okay, you are the global admin, you are this admin, you are DNS admin, you are DHCP admin. So these kind of strategies we should have, but by default it should be 0. Need to know the principle. So basically we should have the least privileges. Whosoever wants whatever access or authorization, it should be given like that only. So access control, ACLs, all of you know, like this user can perform this user can, admin can do whatever you want. Then depending on what role they have, we can authorize the resources to them. So single sign-on. So guys, is it clear? I'm just speaking. It's like speaking to myself.
Yes.
No, it's clear. No, it's clear.
Okay. Don't worry. The fun stuff will come. I know it's, but this is a part of course, so I can't just ignore like this. And don't think that these questions won't be asked. They might give you the scenario like in any company and then ask you the scenario based question based on that. Okay. I'm just being fast because last time we did not do anything at all much. So single sign-on. You know about single sign-on? Have you done ever single sign-on? Have you heard of SSO before?
Yeah, we did it on the AWS class and for Active Directory.
For Active Directory. Okay. Have you ever applied a job? Anyone applied a job in IT?
Yeah.
So what are the sources? How do you apply the job?
Online.
Online where? I mean, where? I mean, do you have something? Give me the in details. So where do you go?
You can go to Indeed.com and search.
Okay, we'll stop here. Okay, you go to Indeed.com. So what do you do then? So do you have the option to sign in with Google?
Yep.
So that's called single sign-on. Okay. So basically, it's taking the Google's sign-in options and merging it together to just sign you in. So most of the applications now have the single sign-on with Google or Facebook or LinkedIn or Indeed or any application. Anywhere you go on GitHub, on X, on YZ, any website, you will have the single sign-on over there. Single sign-on means that all your credentials basically will be shared. This password is never shared. Don't think that Google password is getting to the Indeed. Okay, so basically the hash of the password is getting going to the Indeed and it's getting stored. Clear? So I'll give you one example. Let's close this one. So I think there's a whiteboard here. Again, the same thing. It's fine. Anyways. Come on. So this is Indeed and this is Google. So when you do the single sign-on on Indeed, it's ask you like sign in with Google. Let me give you one example. Okay. This is single sign-on, guys. Do you see the screen? Sign in with Google. So basically, when I sign in with Google, this I'm authenticating. I'm getting authenticated. You see the OAuth. Basically, this is authentication. You choose, you redirect to storage, and Indeed there is a token. Basically, it is giving. Do you see ID underscore token here?
Yeah.
Guys, so it will give the scope. Basically, it is just providing that. And finally, the API of Google is getting used here. So in the apps.google user consent on that, basically it's sending the whole query inside that and generating the token. So this is a token, for example. So this token will be sent to the Indeed. So next time when you log in, you will just see the Indeed. Basically, from that token, the session will be established. For example, I choose mail Vimal Kapoor at gmail.com. So I'm able to sign in. Basically, Google API will send a token to the Indeed. So that token is getting registered here, and that's why I'm able to sign in with the Indeed. This is a single sign-on. So do you want to see like how these APIs are getting accessed? I will show you. For example, I am admin.google.com, for example. So let's try to show you something here. I'm doing it to make it interesting, else this will get the theory everywhere. So if you see here, I must have somewhere else also. MSTSC. Okay, yeah, this one. No, no. Okay, so this is console.developers.google.com. You won't be able to get this kind of console right now because you are not in some kind of domain and you're not admin. But let me show you on the admin perspective what it looks like. So this is the dashboard. If I want to enable some kind of APIs, APIs is the application programming interface. So this is how they do the integration of single sign-on. So there will be a credentials basically. So I will create one service account basically from here, create credentials. Guys, this is just extra learning. This is not at all part of course. OK, so just to show you how they are doing like a single sign-on authentication. So Indeed will have some kind of console like this. So what they can do, they will create some kind of service account here. They will give the name and like, let's see, this is account and they will add the role. So this is where the authorization comes into the play. So there is a single sign on some kind of service here, like anything like that, any source or service usage, you API keys admin or something like that. So Indeed will have something like this API. They will try to continue. It will have some kind of keys. So it will create the key. So if I create a key, it will ask me for what kind of key you want, JSON or P12. So we'll save this key. This key will look like this. And after this key is established, we can establish this connection. Then I have to go to admin. I have to manage the API client access. I have to give the client name. There is a client ID like 01 for Indeed. So I'll give that something like this. It's a long digit number. So then I will authorize some kind of APIs like Google API.admin directly user read only. So if I give this kind of access, for example, Google API.com authorize auth/admin.directory.usage.read only. Basically, Indeed can just read the stuff which I authorize. So Indeed can just read my user information. So sometimes when you sign in with the Google or sign in with Facebook, it will ask you that that Indeed wants to access this information like this. Indeed wants to access your username and contacts or username and this and username and messages like that. From here, we can give the permissions like read only or which permissions we want to give. Then we can authorize them. These are all the APIs. Basically, APIs is basically just a code kind of. There is a code on the backend which is giving the permissions. So this is how single sign-on we can implement. It's too much detail, but this is not at all the part of network security or something, but just to let you know, like this is how they are working. Clear? Okay.
Yes.
So
yep.
it's so we can have OTP and the various tokens we can have for single sign-on. So basically we sign in at one place and we get authorized to all the resources within the system. Easy of use. OK, tell me any one disadvantage of single sign-on. Any one. Oops. Guys, any one disadvantage of single sign-on?
Single point of attack.
You just read.
Yeah.
Explain.
Well, it's like a centralized point where attackers can go to access all the information.
Yeah. So if your password is weak for Google, Gmail, then all the resources which are associated with that will be authorized. So the attacker can gain access. If Google is compromised, then everything is compromised. Clear? So decentralized, centralized type of access. Accountability, again, sender cannot deny that he has sent the information, receiver cannot deny receiving it, user cannot deny the performing the certain. This is accountability. This is also called non-repudiation. So it's both are the same things. So supports non-repudiation, fault tolerance, fault isolation, and all these things. Integrity, very important. Again, I've told you everything. Data shouldn't be tampered. Guys, one thing I want to let you know, these all stuff, slides, data, content, everything is available on internet. I know it's my part of the job to just give you, but everything is there. So now we are not living in like some other old centuries that if it was 10 years back, yes, it was a very important, but now the content is too much all over the internet, too much, but still you are here. So I don't want to waste your time on this kind of official definitions. So I am more of the to just show you the content, the practical implementation wherever it's going on. So how we can, if I talk about integrity, how we can implement integrity. If I talk about this, how in the real time we are implementing that. That's my main goal here. So I will tell you in my definition what's going on there, but officially you can learn. In the exam I won't ask you like tell me the official definition of like book type definition of confidentiality, integrity, not like that. So rather I will just try to give you the scenario based questions in the exam, how you can crack this, how you can do this. I may give you like a small lab. I can ask you just if you can tell me the vulnerabilities here, something like that. So whereas you will have the hands-on, you won't have the theory kind of things. So everything is, the commands are available all over the internet. Believe me, just Google one thing, every everything is all over the Google, everything, all the certification materials, all everything. But that's not the point. Like if you have to read it, then why you would have enrolled in the college? So my main purpose is to just link those dots. If I link those dots, it's very much clear to you the whole picture. If I tell you the single sign-on and how these guys are doing, so my whole job is done from my side. Because if you get to know, if you understand how they are contacting the APIs, or how they are managing at the backend, how they are managing the encryption, how what are the algorithms, we will do the practicals here. So I have some stuff ready. So we'll talk about that. So everything again, the whole point is available on the internet. But my job here is to give you all the practical scenarios with examples and the implementation, how you can implement those things. We'll start with the next risk threat. Again, the boring content. So what is vulnerability? What is risk? What is exploit? What is non-repetition? So vulnerability is a weakness in the system. Again, you can read this, guys. I'm gonna skip this. So you just read vulnerability. What is threat? What is risk? What is the formula for that? Don't worry, I won't ask you these kind of questions anywhere. So just this is something you should know. So risk analysis, how you can do the risk analysis assessment versus cost. Okay, this is important. One of thing, for example, you found that your system is vulnerable. For example, my machine, the laptop which I'm working. Okay, I know that there are some open ports. Okay, on my laptop. I'm giving you a scenario. I'm gonna ask you something. For example, my laptop has some open ports. Those ports are vulnerable, like someone can just steal the information from that. And that information is not very much important to me. I'm okay with that. So do you think that I should invest some money to hire an engineer to do some troubleshooting, and the engineer will cost me around $1,600, whereas the data is not at all worth. So should I ask the engineer to do it or no?
If the information is not valuable, I don't think so. It's not worth the
Exactly.
not worth the cost. Yeah.
So this is where all the companies do risk management versus cost of security. So if they think that the in the enterprise level company, if suppose they don't have the firewall, the ports are open, everything is open, but the information is not too much critical, they are okay with that. Or there could be a X type of attacks. It could be like a DOS attack. They can do like man in the middle attack. They can steal the information. They can hijack the system. They can send a virus. They can send the troms. There are lot trojans and worms and I don't know n number of things they can do. So it depends like how much your data is important, or the solution might cost you, like for the implementation, or uh, to just remove that kind of vulnerability. So it depends. You have to judge with that, and it's based on your experience, like if you want to implement it or not. For example, one of the best example I can give you is a ransomware attack. Do you know what is ransomware attack? Anyone? It was very much popular in 2017. That attack was called WannaCry, ransomware WannaCry, and it disturbed n number of companies with that. And it was so popular all over the news that ransomware, I got this ransomware, that ransomware. So what do you mean by ransomware? Anyone?
No idea.
No idea. So guys, can you just excuse me for 1 minute? I'm gonna come back. Someone can.
Damn, Carlos, you got muscles.
Yeah. I think you were looking just to here, and I see the screen. When I see the screen, I'm just looking at just up to here. So I don't know how you're gonna be able to. I thought it was just here. Man. No, I'm not doing any. Yeah. No.
Well, it's good. Fitness.
This is built through the years, like it was a young. Yeah, stay there. I don't know. I don't do much.
Especially during this pandemic, it's hard.
Sorry guys, I had to go down. The package came for delivery. Whew. Okay, so ransomware was when I encrypt all the data of your system. So basically, I encrypt everything in your system, and then I will ask you for the key. Basically, I will ask you for the money and to give you the key, basically. So what will happen? So you won't be able to access any of the data which is there. Suppose I have this, there are some files and folders here, all of them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to encrypt all of them. And then I will ask you for the money. Okay, I will decrypt all of them. I will give you the key for decryption if you give me this much money.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they ask you for the in the bitcoins. They will ask you like, give me 5 bitcoins or 10 bitcoins, because they won't accept any other payment options. So this thing happened in our college also. I'll be very frank with you. We were victim of ransomware attack once, and it affected all the computer systems, everything, whatever you see in the college. So everything was affected by ransomware once in the college. So we, rather than buying the key, buying the key from them, from the attackers, which we don't know which will be fine or not, we decided to format all the systems. And we did formatting of all the systems, whatever you see, the whole college facility. So we formatted each and every system, and we introduced a better firewall solution in our college, just to close everything for any kind of attack or anything. So most of the companies, medium scale companies, were the victim of these kind of attacks. They are performed from somewhere in the world. Maybe they normally say that most of the attackers are from Russia, but it could be from anywhere. So they have the bots. Basically, the bots are basically automated computer programs which will scan the network all the time. They're programs which are scanning the ports everywhere. They are scanning the IPs. They are scanning the whole network. So once they find any kind of vulnerability, they will inform, and they're gonna encrypt. They're gonna send some kind of malware which will encrypt everything in the cloud. So they will access the information from the server, Microsoft server. So they have all program ready just to attack that. This program is called a payload. Payload is the term which is used. So once the payload is inserted to your systems, it will encrypt everything, and then they will ask you for money for if anything you want to decrypt. So rather than investing there, rather than paying money to the attacker, what we did, basically we thought like it will cost us less if we format the systems, because data was not crucial. So data was not crucial. Why? Because it was in the class systems. So in the class, in the college classes, so that's why we always encourage the students to take a backup on the cloud. If anything happens on the college facility systems, so college is not going to be responsible for that, because we don't know, any attack can happen any day, because every day on the hackathon, on the bug bounty programs, so various attackers participate to find the bugs, to find the loopholes. So you don't know, today is everything is safe, tomorrow there could be a high potential vulnerability which is in Microsoft Windows or any kind of firewall or any kind of device that is potentially a threat, basically potentially a risk. So we don't know at all. So that's why we need to very much be clear on this section, that are we going to pay to the attacker, or are we going to see are we going to mitigate the risk ourselves? So this is the whole point here. So attack sources, we can have active attacks, we can have passive attacks. So active attacks are basically you're writing the data into the network as it says. So active means whenever you're on the online, so you're trying to attack all the time. For example, denial of service attacks, you're trying to throw a lot of packets on the you're sending a lot of packets on web1 server. So what, for example, you have a web server, you have a website running on the internet. So this website is your own website, something you made for e-commerce. So there are a lot of users. Somehow you saw like there was a lot of traffic, lot of users are trying to access just one website, and that is yours. So this is one example of denial of service attack. It's an active attack because it's you're online. So you're trying to do something with that. You are trying to change something. You're trying to disrupt or degrade the service of the web server. Spoofing means changing something, pretending to be someone else, basically. With that, so in man in the middle attacks, what you do, you became as a middleman. So whenever me and you are we are communicating, there is someone who's changing the data in between. So all the data is flowing through that man in the middle. So he can track the data, he can change the data, he can see the request, whatever. So again, ARP poisoning means you're changing there is IP which is mapped with the MAC address. When you change that, when you do something else, you flood that ARP table, basically. So in that case, you do the ARP. We will do this thing in details. This is called as ARP poisoning. Then buffer overflow, SQL injection. These are the application attacks. So for example, your RAM is capable of storing 2 GB of data, but somehow you're sending lot of 3 GB of data. So basically what it will do, it will also erase the disk in that case, which is called as a buffer overflow attack. So you are basically overloading the buffer with a lot of data. So which is going to result in some kind of overlapping of data, which we call a buffer overflow. SQL injection is when we inject some SQL queries in the fields. For example, when it asks you for please type your username and password, rather than typing our username and password, we just put the query. So when we put the query, so it executes the query. So when you, for example, it's asking you, please input your name, password and all. So instead of typing your name, what you do, you put a query called select star from table, for example. So when you put select star from table, and somehow when you click on next, and it executes that query. So once that query is executed, it will show you all the data, like select star. Star means everything. It's going to show you everything from the server side. These kind of attacks are called as a SQL injection. In the passive attacks, basically, reconnaissance, it's kind of, in that case, what we do, we just gather the information about the attacker. Eavesdropping means secretly you are just eavesdropping. You are just checking. You're silently listening the traffic, what's going on. You're not changing the data. That's an example of like passive attacks. You're just seeing the data, what the guys are sending, what the guys are receiving. And the passive attack is one of them is port scanning. So let me give you one example. There is a tool called ZenMap. Let's go to. So in the Linux environment, it's called Nmap, but in the Windows environment, it's called ZenMap. So for example, if I want to know, like, let's see any website here. Let's see Kijiji, maybe. So if I go to this ZenMap, I'm gonna stop sharing and do it again. Just give me 1 minute. Yeah. So if you go to ZenMap, and if I go to this one, instance target and no ping. So if I scan this port, basically this is some kind of passive attack. So this is example of passive attack. What this tool is doing, it's going to scan all the ports which are there on kijiji.ca, which is the server. So no target specified. So I don't think so we have anything here because everything is closed from their end. Let's try to see some other website. Let's try to search something else. Let's try to see facebook.com if they have something. Nothing. Okay, wait for a while.
Revenue Canada.
Yeah, there is something wrong. Let me have to do it. Do you know how we can resolve from hostname to IP on the command prompt? Anyone? If I want to know the IP of facebook.com, anyone?
The IP of Facebook.com.
Yeah, tell me if I want to see the IP of facebook.com, how I can see. I want to know the what IP where the facebook.com is hosted. Anyone who has done it before? No? No. Okay. Have you ever heard of this command, ns lookup?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I got the IP, guys. This IP, I'm gonna copy this and then try it here. Basically, the target. Let's try to see. I'm gonna scan all the ports with the passive attack. What's going on? Let's see. So discovered port 80 open, discovered port 443 open. So basically this IP is of facebook.com. Instead of writing facebook.com, if I just go to the new tab and paste this IP, so facebook.com automatically will open. Okay. So here, if I do the scan, it's initializing. If you see the logs here, so it started the nmap on this one, and then it's scanning the services. So I got the services Edge Star Mini SHV. So this is one example that I'm gathering the information about Facebook.com. So we have two services on one host basically. So all the addresses I have what's going on here, so somehow it closed the XMP client. So here I have all the messenger.com, facebook.com, all the DNS which are associated with the Facebook. So in the country subject alternative, you can have facebook.com, facebook.net is by Facebook, fpcdn.net, fbx.net, messenger.com, facebook.com, messenger, m.facebook.com is owned by Facebook, xx.fb, like all this is the information about Facebook. Okay, what they are doing, supporting methods, they are supporting get and post options in the http robots.txt dialog and all. So this is how the attackers gain the information. So if I want to see what ports are open, I can see that 5222 TCP is closed. 843 is closed, but 80 and 443 are open. Both two ports are open. So in the nmap output, I can see here I have a lot of things. I have font size. I have something on port 80. All the code which is hosted on port 80. I have all the requests which are going. So I can also see the topology when I was going to facebook.com. So first from the local host, it went to the gateway. So this is a college gateway 172.16.9.2. Then it went to 172.1621.5. It's the IP of some device, which I don't want to mention. This is where the Videotron modem comes into the place. So it went to the Videotron ISP, Internet Service Provider. Then it went to this IP 216. This is an intermediate router in between. Then it went to this IP. Then it went to this, and finally it went to the edge.star.facebook.com, which is actual IP of the web server. So this is not actually the facebook.com. This is a proxy basically. They have set up one kind of proxy server. So this is
how did you get to this?
Using topology.
Okay.
So here ports, nmap, host details. I can see a lot of information about just facebook.com. So how many ports are closed? 2 ports are closed. So they manually close the ports 843 and 5222. So I can see the host details. I can see the scan. So here the type of scan I want, I can do regular scan, quick traceroute, quick scan plus, quick scan, intense scan with no ping. This is very useful tool basically. I normally do a lot of port scanning on a lot of websites. So here you have to just type the IP rather than the FTDN, fully qualified domain. I was trying with facebook.com. Normally it works. I don't know why today it didn't work. So what you can do instead, you can do NS lookup of any website. So look up google.com. So you will see the IP of Google 172.16217. So if I copy that and paste it on the browser, basically, if I paste it here, so I should see google.com, right? Which I see, right? Clear to all?
Yep.
Makes sense, yep. Right?
Yep.
So same way with Kijiji, I can see how many ports are open. If suppose the port is open, which we see is a vulnerable port, the port where we can attack, we can do that. So before anything, we have to do this. We have to do some port scanning. We have to collect the information about the attacker. So this is what. So attack sources, we can have a lot of on path and off path. So attack sources. So insider, outsider, we can have a deliberate attack and unintentional. Suppose we don't want to attack, but somehow we attacked it. The information. Suppose right now we were scanning the ports and somehow we inserted the payload and we started to attack Facebook. So definitely they're gonna come to our home next day and with some kind of warrant. And we have to just justify like it was very much unintentional. We were just doing some educational stuff, but somehow we attacked the Facebook server. So we are very sorry for that. This kind of things. So insider, outsider. So we can have like insider, suppose a guy who is working in a company. I'm working in Montreal College, so I know all the ins and outs. I can attack any day, anytime, because if insider people knows everything. It depends, like it's very easy to do the insider attack rather than an outside attack. So because insider knows more information, I know which IP, which port, where it is located, how the credentials are flowing. So by the same way, it's my duty. It's very much my role to protect everything. I have to do the audits because I am hired for that. I have to make sure that no other student is doing any kind of stuff. So normally we know a lot of things about the students, like what they are trying to do, but we don't say anything because it's okay. Unless they are very much high potential threat for our organization, we are okay with that stuff. You can do some testing, you can do some of the, if you want to, but normally we have some of the monitoring tools which we can have a lot of information available on that tool to see what student can do or is trying to do. For example, you're trying to send a lot of packets on one IP, or if you're trying to do some kind of attack or malware or anything like that. So we can detect that, but it's very much our duty to do that. Uh, so next thing, journal threats masquerade. If you say that suppose my name is Vimal, if I say I'm not Vimal, I'm someone else, I'm Carlos, so that means I'm masquerading. I'm trying to steal someone's identity. So eavesdropping, if you are trying to read the information. Now, if Carlos is trying to access my email, I mean, he sees what he's not supposed to see. This is called eavesdropping. So authorization violation, suppose Carlos, you are not authorized to see my credit card, but somehow you got it on the chair and you click the picture. I'm sorry, I'm just giving example. Don't take it personally. So if you click a picture, this is like authorization violation. So loss or modification. So if you alter the data, this is loss or modification of data. Denial of communication, again, you cannot deny, like if I found a picture of my credit card in your phone, in your photos, in your gallery, so then you cannot deny that, okay, I was not the one who used the card. It just appeared automatically. I don't know how it appeared in my gallery. So this is kind of a denial of communication attack. It's a reputation. Forgery of information. So you create some new information, some new picture in your gallery. So I mean, with my name or something, that's called forgery of information. Suppose you use Photoshop and my body is something else, and you put my face on some other model or something like that, and you're trying to say that this guy is now doing the modeling rather than doing something else. So this is like forgery of information. Sabotage, it's if you're trying to disrupt the services, or I mean which is intended to work normally, smoothly. For example, uh, my tool is working. Suppose my VPN is working. All of you have the VPN. If you're trying to do something with VPN, making changes in VPN and trying to reduce its availability, or you're going to the building and just powering it off or something like that, something, you're plugging out the Ethernet cable. This is example of sabotage. I told you about reconnaissance. Unauthorized users gain information about network. This is what we were doing. Basically, we were trying to access the information of the network. So after that, it's also called as eavesdropping, basically. So information gained is subsequent attack, DDoS. So example of relevant information. Just now we tried to search about everything about facebook.com, names, emails. So practically anything we are trying to do is it's basically, it's a first step towards any kind of attack. So whenever you're trying to attack any kind of enterprise or anything like that, it's a first step which attacker will perform. So any attacker will try to gather as much information as possible. The first thing will be IP, second thing will be the ports, third thing will be the services, whatever the services, fourth thing will be how we can attack those services. Fifth will be what kind of attack we can have to perform. It has to be denial of service attack. It has to be like we can insert the worms. It is SQL injection, buffer overflow. Is it like ARP spoofing? It depends on what type of environment we want to attack. So if I'm trying to guys, tell me if I give you one email address, for example, to you, one very simple email address to you, and what is the easiest way to get the credentials of that email? Anyone? Like if I give you emails, I give you x.y@gmail.com. So what is the easiest way to attack that email? I mean, I want to get the password of that. Anyone?
Well, you could say that there is someone is like you could send a fake email, like a security email advising the person to connect again. Like for example, you said that there's.
Do you mean like yeah, you let him give him the link and
ask him to re-enter his information?
Okay.
Like a phishing.
Okay. What else? Yeah. That's not easiest. In the layman's term, in very much who doesn't know anything about security or who cannot do anything, what is the easiest possible way to just take the password or something like that, or somehow authorize the account? I mean, what is the first step? You normally do it every day.
Go to Gmail.
Yeah. What else?
Forget to clear the cache.
No, I'll tell you. Have you ever heard of security question? Security questions.
Yeah.
So everyone has very strong yeah, everyone will give very strong password like 15 characters and all alphanumeric. But no one gives a strong security question. Like security question will be like where you live, like it's Montreal. That's it. What was your hometown? Like it was some place. It's very now here this attack will perform like here you will gather the information about the attacker, like where he used to live, what was his colony, and it's very easy to get those things like about gathering the information about the victim. So I will if I want to do something with the some email x.y, I will see that that guy was living in there. His father name was this, mother's name was this. Then I will try to answer the security questions like what was and people will have very strong password again. I repeat, but they will have very weak security questions answers. So in that case, you're stuck all the time. So the first time the attacker will try is these kind of things, forget password. So if I want to suppose I want to, again, this is second example, second type of attack we can perform. I'm just saying it in a generalized way. For example, I want to attack x.y@gmail.com. Suppose if I type the forget email, so the email will be linked to some like x.y@yahoo.com. Then again on x.y, I got the email of Yahoo. Now I will go to yahoo.com. I will go to forget password. It will send a link to x.y at some kind of very much simple email, which is very easy to guess the password or something like that. So this is now the chain. If I get x.y@m.com is linked with x.y@yahoo.com, which is linked with x.y@google.com, which is linked x.y@twitter.com. So if anywhere I found a vulnerability, if anywhere I found that this is a loophole, so if I get the password of that, everything I can get, because all the accounts are linked, because the security account for the forget the primary and secondary accounts we have, like if you forget the password, send the confirmation link to this ID. If that ID has a weak password, then also your account will be compromised. So this is the approach of attacker. So they will try to see all the possible ways. So this is what we call the gathering of information for the attack. So in the network part, if we want to attack the network part, then normally we scan the ports. We try to see which payload we have to insert to attack. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, so in the man in the middle attack, so we have active eavesdropping. So what the guy will do, he will have some kind of tool like Wireshark or some kind of tool. So what he's gonna do is he's basically gonna trace the packets, what packets you're sending and all. In between, what he will do, he will change the IP basically. Whatever the traffic was going through that, it will do the forwarding of IP to your IP basically. So suppose X is communicating with google.com and you are Y. So X will redirect using some tool all the traffic to Y. So this is called like active eavesdropping. It's one of form of man in the middle. You are being in the middle, and then whatever you receive, you're sending it to X again. So you're trying to see whatever the communication is happening. We'll try to see how we can have it in the protocol way or how we can have in the key way. So it's again the generalized. So attacker makes the independent connection with the victim and relay messages and making them believe that they are talking directly to each other over a private connection, when in fact the entire conversation is controlled by the attacker. So Y is in between X and Google. So basically he's taking all the control, but X will think that all the time he was communicating with google.com. So usually a result of lack of end-to-end authentication. So masquerading. So Y is claiming to be X basically. Y is claiming to be the someone else because he's acting as a in between. So for Google, he is X, Y is X. For X, Y is the server, Google. So this is masquerading. He's doing in the both ways. Because he's in the middle. So that's why it's called man in the middle attack. So it's one of the most common type of attack, man in the middle. So for example, I'll show you something here. So let's try to see what we have. This is a tool which is called Wireshark. You might be familiar with that. So let me see which adapter I have to take. I'll take the Ethernet one. So in the Ethernet, I can see all the communication happening, right? If you see, hello, this is. So now what I'm doing, I'm trying to see. So let's stop it now. So now when I just opened this tool Wireshark, basically what it will do, it's basically trying to capture whatever is going on within the network. So I just tried in the call network what's happening here. So I'm more concerned. I can see the protocol. I'm more concerned of HTTP wherever it is. So if we don't have, it's okay. But I can at least see like the source IP like 172.16.30.35 was trying to reach 172.16.9.58, or there are a lot of things which we can say like what website it was trying to ask. Like here we have a lot of information about that. So in the ARP address resolution, in the frame Ethernet. So this kind of language you can understand once you're familiar with these protocols. You know what is SYN, what is SYN-ACK, what attacks, what is application data, what is TLS, transport layer security, what is UDP, that's you know. So what is TLS version this, what is these kind of keys, is it going where, what is destination. I mean, these are all things you should be familiar with. Let's try to see if there is anything. This is when it sends the hello packet. That means it's trying to establish a connection with the 224.0.0.10. So you can filter these packets according to the IPs. So we'll talk about this later in the Wireshark part. It's just the capturing of packets. So this is one form of man in the middle attack. I know like what's going on. Session hijacking, very common one when you try to grab the cookies basically. So what is a session basically? In the session, what we do when for example this one admin.google.com, I'm signed in. So I'm signed in from past 1 hour. So I refresh. I don't have to sign in again. I don't have to put the credentials. Why? Because there is a session established. There is a session key established with my browser and the Google server basically. So that's why it's allowing me to take the access of this page. I'm authorized to view this page because of this thing, because session ID, session token has been granted to me, to my browser basically. So it's storing that browser, and with the help of that session token, I am able to see this console. But for example, this session is stored in some kind of cookie. So this is like a random, I'll tell you something like that. So this will look like this, something like, so this is a token, some session token, something like this it would look like. So cookie equals to something like that. This it will look like. So once I have this cookie, somehow some guy comes and sent you the link. So please click on this link and you will get $2,000, $3,000 and blah, blah, blah. So basically what it is doing, I'll show you exactly what it's doing. So it's sending you like http:// getrewards.com/get 1,000, something like that. So what he will do, he will just try to, what he will do, he will this kind of link he will send, but the link normally you will see it will be very big, very lengthy, right? So most of the spam links are very lengthy. Have you seen those links before? Anyone?
Yeah.
So in that case, what they do, they add the script. So they add like some kind of Java code, JavaScript code. So this document dot get element dot cookie, something like that, this code. So this, what it will do, it will fetch the cookie and then post something to this IP. Once post it to, for example, www.bit.ly, something like that, and slash something xyz, like this kind of link it's generated. So this what it will do, it will take your cookie, this will take your session token of this page or any page. So it will send to this link, and once it is sent, they will take the session of yours, so they can see what you're doing, I mean what the console looks like. So this is why your accounts, bank accounts, you can, they make the transactions, they make. So when you say that, oh, I accidentally click on this link and now they did the transaction of $2,000, $3,000, this is how they are doing it. They're inserting the code inside the link, this code, document.getElement.cookie. This is a very common attack which is called cross-site scripting, XSS attack. So this is one of the example. We'll again try to implement this thing here. So, but is it clear to all? So this is called as a session hijacking. So I won't go through all the explanation. This should be clear to you. So again, I'll just read it for formality. So exploitation of valid computer session to give the unauthorized access of information. So theft of magic cookie used to authenticate the user to the remote server. Again, session fixation, attacker uses the session ID. Again, I told you about the session ID to known to him. For example, by sending the user email with a link containing the particular session ID. Session hijacking, attacker user, he can sniff also this session ID. So is it clear? Does it make sense to all?
Yes.
Guys, before continuing, I want your feedback a little. I mean, is this way of going through the lecture is okay, or I should change something? Is it too fast, or should it control? Be very frank and be like a friends. I don't want any kind of formality like anything. We are all friends and we are just learn in a learning environment. I might be able to learn from you guys. So I'm always open to that. I just want a feedback because I want you guys to understand the most whatever I have gained throughout my experience. I would say I would like to share it everything, but just let me know if I need to change anything. I want something if you really want to me to change or something like that. No. Okay. Guys, any feedback? Anything you're not able to understand? Just let me know, please, please, please.
Okay. You're doing good. Yes.
Sorry.
I said for now you are doing good, but it's just a matter of time for us to digest some of it, some of the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if I'm going too fast or if because I don't know how this online works, how much we understand in the online part, or because the whole structure of education is just now changed. So I'm not very much familiar. That's why I just want, normally whenever I'm in the class, I know I have a board, I have a pen, I have everything to explain very clearly. But just because of some constraints of this COVID situation, so I'm just very much keen to know like what changes I can make so that you can get more out of me than whatever you're learning right now. I mean, I'll try to change because it's just second lecture is started. So just let me know because I also want to improve. I want to change. So please.
Okay. On my own side, if you have maybe we have extra time, I think a more explanation will do us more help,
Oh,
like more
oh,
explanation. Yeah, like.
okay. Okay. Anything else? More explanation. Very soon you're gonna get tired of too much stuff. Don't worry, because we haven't started yet with any kind of attack. So
Okay.
every attack, everything will be in too much detail in coming lectures. We have a lot of things to do. This is just an overview, so that
Okay.
next time if I tell you about session hijacking, you shouldn't be like confused. Like I never heard of this term. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I'm trying to overview some of the things.
Sure.
And in generalized way, you will see a lot of these terms in the security. And one more thing, again, in the interview, if you really want to crack that, just stick with the core concepts. It's very nice if you're very much clear with the core concepts. These all are the core concepts of security. This is something they ask normally. What kind of attack, where we can attack, give me some example, tell me where you have seen this. So I'm trying to relate everything with the real time scenario. So if they ask, yeah, guys, have you ever scanned a port? Do you know how to scan a port? So you should be able to answer like Nmap. I know, like I did it one time. Like I tried to scan Facebook.com. I remember, okay, the Facebook has 553 open closed port. So this will make an impression on the interviewer. So okay, this guy has performed something. This guy knows something to about the ports at least. So this is what I want from you. So next time, again, just let me know. It's I'm taking a small break now. Just let me know in that time if I need to do something, improve something or something like that.
Okay.
Any feedback from anyone? I'll start taking names. Let's not make it boring, guys. I'm also a student. I just
I don't know
just came.
what you guys are doing. Everyone is quiet.
Yeah,
Yeah, so far so good. I think, in my opinion, I think
Vimal,
that's very
I
good.
have one
I mean, I understand that we
suggestion
only
which we
have
can
one
do.
month.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
Go
Amrik,
ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I have suggestion that you can do if like before next lecture, every
Yeah.
next lecture you can give us any documents. What are you gonna teach us? So we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
least refer those documents little bit,
Yeah. Sure.
so we
Sure.
can
Sure.
catch
Sure.
easily. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. No problem. I'll do
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Thank you. No problem.
I, I want to ask you a question that I wanted to know about it a long time ago. Every time I'm gonna get a credit card or whatever they say that I have to sign it at the back. Is doing any good? Any bad or worse? Why did you have to release information in my at the back like in my signature, official signature? I don't think it's something
No,
that's gonna protect me.
I have a card, but I never use the signatures. Like, I think it's just for confirming the identity that you are the one who's holding. So next time,
but
if
it's
there,
information that I'm releasing by free. I mean, it's for free. I'm showing everybody my signature. It's,
don't do that.
if I lose the car, so everybody say, don't forget to sign at the back. So what the hell is this? It's like I put
And
on my
yes,
address, my name.
Don't do
Doesn't
it.
make sense for me,
It doesn't
is
make
it?
sense. Exactly. No, it doesn't make sense. It's kind of they might think of some ways.
I've
Maybe they
never
have.
signed any.
Even I never signed. I have 3 cards, and 3 of them are like that. So it's
I
not.
had
Okay,
one,
let's say, yeah,
but I signed.
that's crazy.
Guys, any question till now? Like whatever we have done. Anything?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. Like, what kind of project do you want? Do you want? I have 2 projects in my mind. So one of the project is again the man in the middle attack, like in the home network wherever you're sitting. You try to see what's going on in the home network, and you try to play here and there. You can use. I'll give you a lab basically on EVE-NG. So in the EVE-NG, you will have one router, one switch, one Kali Linux, and one of the Windows 10 machine. So normally, the router is supposed to give all the IPs, DHCP IPs. But this time, what it will do, the basically it will fill the scope of router. Scope is the range of IPs which router is supposed to allocate. Suppose from this range to this range, IPs are going to allocated by router to the machines. But now what this Kali Linux tool will do, it will just fill the scope, and next time whenever the machine boots up, Windows 10 will boot up, so it will start taking IP from the Kali Linux, and whatever the information is flowing, whatever the information is going through from the Windows 10 to the web server or anything, it will be getting tracked by the Kali Linux. So for example, if it's surfing google.com, you will be man in the middle because you have given the IP, and you will act as a man in the middle, and you will see all the information. You got the project, right? Idea. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. The second project is just very much normal.
Can you
Uh,
repeat, Freeman?
okay.
I'm sorry.
So what we are going to do? We'll have one router which is giving the DHCP IPs. So we'll have one Windows 10 machine, which is acting as a client. We'll have one Kali Linux. So basically, router is supposed to give the IPs from the scope, which is allocated to the router. So scope means whatever the range, like from 192.168.1.0 to 192.168.1.10. For example, this is the scope of router. From these IPs, the router is supposed to allocate the IPs to the Windows 10 machine or any machine in the network. But what we did, we just introduced a Kali Linux in between. So Kali Linux, what it did, like Linux in the environment, it can uh, fill the scope fill the scope of the DHCP. Basically, it will start creating some randomly machines, which doesn't exist anywhere. So what it will do, it will start taking those machines will start taking the IPs. So once those 10 IPs are full, so because router doesn't have more scope, so what it will do, it will stop. So now we will set up one fake DHCP server on the Kali itself. What this Kali will do, this will start distributing the IPs. So once it start distributing the IPs, so next time the Windows 10 boots up, it will take the IP from that Kali Linux. So once it takes the IP from Kali Linux, basically we can set up a man in the middle. Basically, that Linux will act as a man in the middle, and it can try to attack. It can try to eavesdrop. Basically, it can see all the information which is flowing from here and there. This is one of the project, and second project is we can introduce as a fake access point. Like we can have some kind of fake access point. So whatever the information is, I mean, normally you have like your Wi-Fi. So we'll have one kind of Wi-Fi kind of things in our home network or something like that. So what we will do, this Wi-Fi network, someone will make it as an open Wi-Fi. So anyone can join. So whosoever will join that network, so he will try to search some websites. So whatever websites he's trying to search or whatever he's trying to do, so we can see it from the Kali. So this is one of the projects. So one of third project we can do is we can have a this cracking the wireless access point, the WPA, WEP, web wireless enhanced privacy. So we can try to break the password of Wi-Fi using some of the tools, some of the dictionary attacks or something like that. So this is the third kind of project. So what do you want? What do you prefer? Like, you can just let me know. I'm gonna post one.
Yeah, the
One.
Wi-Fi one seems interesting. Cracking the password.
Actually, all the three is interesting. They're all interesting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try to document all three, and we'll start from next lecture. We'll start implementing these projects, three of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna just put one post. By the way, this is a break time going on, so it's fine. Uh,
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
You hear? You listen?
Yeah, I can
I
hear
don't
you.
know. Okay.
Go ahead.
Talking about the Wireshark,
Yeah.
what is the scope and what is the reach of Wireshark to see it, to be able to see the packages, to see the same
Not
only the LAN or a specific segment or what? What can I see with Wireshark?
same network. Same network.
All the
So,
packages on the same LAN.
network. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Local area.
not only the broadcast that are going in the same connect, the same port of the Wireshark PC, all of
No.
the
Everywhere in the network, for example. So right now I'm at home. So if I install the Wireshark, I can capture like whosoever is doing. Whosoever is requesting for which website. So it's the scope is the local area network basically. So all the points which are going to your router, which are going to your gateway, from gateway to all the connections which are established to all the devices. So that is the actual scope of Wireshark
So
within the local API.
can I say, okay, I'm gonna target all the packets that have been receiving by an endpoint, specific endpoint, and then
Yes.
see all what it is
Let
receiving,
me
right?
let me show you something here. If I go to the new one, file open, let's see, new, is there anything new? No, no. Let's close it and just do it again. Wireshark, come on. So if you see Wireshark, so Wireshark is basically capturing the packets where it's finding all the local interfaces. So once I find the local interface, these are all interfaces, VirtualBox, and I can see the traffic. Like wherever I see the arrows, that means the traffic is flowing. So I'm more concerned about the Ethernet. Okay. So this is my
Yeah.
adapter. This is the main network. But I can also have the NCAP, which is the loopback adapter, which is currently I'm connected to VPN. So that this adapter is the one which is working on the backend. I have the VirtualBox host only network. I can trace the traffic here also. I can see the loopback adapter also, but I'm more concerned with the Ethernet.
So
So if I
you can sit at an endpoint with the Wireshark and target and see all the information that is another server
yeah,
getting from after
yeah,
one or two
yeah,
switches, right?
yeah, for example, this one, this from 9.58, it's going to this IP 24.200 dot. So I can see that this IP is trying to, this is my IP only, 192.168.9.58. This guy is basically trying to send a sequence of packets, basically, to the destination port 443. 443 is HTTPS. So this means this is the web traffic. Okay. So on the based on the frame, I can try to see like frame length is 440 bits. So I can see the time. I can see the is on the Ethernet one. So let's try to see what else we can have. All HSRP. This is not, the information is not valuable for us. This is not valuable, not as valuable. But I can see the source and destination. So from this source 172.16.9.15, the packet is traveling to 24. So let's see what this IP is. 24.200. Let me see what it is. 24.200 dot 120.16. So it's better if we do it like this. It's better. Sorry. Let me show you something. Hey, where am I? 9.58. So let's go to Wireshark again. So we go to run and cmd, we go to mslookup 24.200 dot 120.16. 120.16. So I can see this is akamai.videotron.com. I know that I'm going to ISP, Internet Service Provider. So this way all the websites I can search like what exactly is this is kind of very much detailed packet tracing. So but here you have all the filters, so it's very important to have the filters. Like here you can write a query like destination address is equal to something like that, source address is something like that. So if I want to sort by source, I can see, or if I want to sort by destination, I can see that. So yeah, a lot of things going on.
Okay.
102.52, all the IPs, all the destinations according to that. So this is one of the IPs. This is one of the IPs. I can see this is a SOAP request going on. If you know a little bit about programming, this is very important. Like I can see the datagram which is flowing. So you look here, it's XML file version 1.0 encoding UTF-8 SOAP request. SOAP, there are only two types of APIs in the world. One is REST, one is SOAP. So it's going to this URL www.w3.org/2000 SOAP SOAP envelope XML, and it's going to http schema.as.xml SOAP. So here I can see all the data, whatever is flowing through that, and this data is making sense to me exactly. So I can also see that host announcement
So
OL1
this is This is the original data from the application. This is
Yes,
not
yes.
including any header,
Encryption. Yeah,
any
yeah,
header
yeah.
from any protocol, whatever. It's just the
Exactly.
data from the application.
Exactly. So this is making sense. This is also making sense to me, like host, what is going on, workstation server, msearch. So man discover. So this is all the language. Agent is Chrome, Google Chrome,
Mhm.
URN. So let's try to see something more important or something more interesting.
So if there is an FTP request with the name of the file, you will be able to see that if you push it.
100%. So if something FTP is working, I can assure you that I can tell you what's going on. So I just need to filter this thing. There are some queries which are written here. So directly you can just put it on the filter tab and you can display it. Let's try to see if I can add a filter. So you can have the filter here and preference it. There is some language which is associated with Wireshark only, and sometimes they hire you just for Wireshark. Sometimes, if you are very much expert in that. But because I'm not very much into this tool, so I just know the generalized way. But I can make the sense out of data. So whatever data you give, so I can make out sense out of that, and that's all the security is about. So if you make the sense out of data, if you know how data is flowing, and what exactly, I mean, you can come out with of those logs, or of those audits, or of those data. So that's where the security comes into play, because we are always like defensive people, not offensive people. We are not going to attack. We are going to monitor the logs. We are going to monitor the data. We are going to audit the data. We are the ones who are going to see the tools which are already doing all the things for us. They are already trying to prevent the attack. They are already checking the vulnerability. So once they check the vulnerability, they will try to send us the logs. So from those logs, we have to make the sense out of that. Is the system really under threat, or it's just a false negative? So then in the security, there are two terms like false positive, false negative. So we have to check. This is one of the tasks of any security analyst. So they have to maintain check, like see the logs. Is it like actually, if the tool has detected some kind of error or vulnerability, is it actual vulnerability or it's just nonsense? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Shall we start? Everyone is here.
Yeah.
So I won't start with attacks on different layer. I have everything. IRP spoofing, I thought we'll start with this. So these are the attacks with the detail, like MAC flooding, DHCP attacks, layer 3 attacks, ping flood, routing, SYNAC attacks, application layer attacks, all of them. So in details. So DNR cache. But before this thing, we are going to start with something else. SSL and PKI, secure socket layer and PKI.
Just to mention that there are so many people in this like hacking world because it doesn't cost much like when you're going to open a business or like a shop or whatever. You just have to invest in a good computer connection and learning. That's it.
Yeah, but in the market there are, I mean, you can teach the steps, but hacking involves more than that. Hacking always needs out of box thinking. So even it's defensive, even it's offensive. So basically, whenever you talk about security, security is very much different than any of the other domain, infrastructure domain. So security, you cannot say that I know this, I know how TLS works, I know all the algorithms, I know all the. That doesn't mean that you can attack something. So attacking can also, even the guy who doesn't know about computer can attack. It's very easy for him. Like for example, the security question, I gave you one example. So it's kind of attack only. So I mean, or guessing the password. The guy is just trying by. Suppose the guy is Sherlock Holmes, for example. So Sherlock Holmes is not a kind of it's a fictional character, but let's take example of someone who is very smart. So by just looking at you, he's gathering all the information: how you talk, how you touch, how you do this, where are you keeping the cards, what kind of passwords you can have. So this is kind of a social engineering. This comes under that, and this is like 50% of attacks in the world are happening because of these things, social engineering. So what happens in that case? If the guy is smart, so definitely the guy who's stopping those guys should be more smarter. Like I mean, they have to be smarter than the guys who are trying to attack. So suppose if they are trying to guessing that, I'll give you one scenario. So in the Facebook page, if I type your email address, for example, if I type here. Suppose Gmail. Let's give you one example. Control Shift N Gmail. So now I have. Oh God, the session is still there. Okay, Control Shift N Gmail. It's incognito. Okay, let's again do that. Gmail. It's good. So let's see. Okay, let's see this account. Suppose I am trying the password next. I'm trying password next. Trying password next. Trying password next. Password next. Next. Well, I'm not typing basically, guys. I'm just giving you one example. There will be a one point. It will start giving me a token that you are not prove that you're not. It will either lock my account, or it will either send me a captcha request that prove that you're not a robot. Have you seen it before? So
Yeah,
basically,
but
what
sometimes give you 3 times only.
exactly? So I'm just trying to show if it comes here. So what happens now? Now this thing I know that Google is very much prone to the dictionary attack. Dictionary attack means basically I'm having like 10,000 or maybe 1 million combination of words, all possible combination of words, which there is an automated script which will enter the passwords here one by one. So if the password is correct, next, else no. Password is correct, yes, no. So we can have that kind of script. We can have a text file with all the possible combination of all the passwords, and we'll try next, next, next. Once the password is guessed, so it will automatically show the message that this is the password. This is one of the most common attacks. This is also called a brute force attack. So to prevent those kind of attacks, what we do is we have some captcha. So captcha, the script cannot solve captcha. Prove that you're not a robot. Have you heard of that scene? Uh,
Yep.
so you have to show, I mean, click on some picture. So basically that things are to prevent these kind of automated programs. So we have some Python code or JavaScript code which is running on the backend, which is trying to add password automatically here and next. Trying to add password here and next. Add password here next. So at one point of time, Google will either block us. They will know that it's trying to do because the Google AI is very intelligent. Google AI is so intelligent, artificial intelligence, that they don't even need captcha. They are on the back end. They know that if I'm authentic or not, if I'm normally a person or I'm a machine. They're very much smart. They can detect the program that if it's a program, they will automatically block this IP, whatever the IP which I'm using. So they are very smart. But normal companies, if I talk about Amazon or any other company, so at the third attempt, they will give me a captcha to solve, prove that you're not a robot. So basically, they're trying to prevent the brute force attack. So no one can guess the attack. So at the third attempt itself, it will be locked. So that's why most of the banks and all, they have this kind of security captcha or solve the captcha or type the words which you see here in the image, or just listen the words and type it like that. A lot of things, captcha solving. So to prevent the brute force attacks. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about TLS now and SSL. So basically, we'll talk about certificates. We'll talk about PKI, encryption, decryption. So I'll quickly go over the TLS part, and then we'll try to see the encryption and decryption part. Uh, so before that, all of you are here, right? I can start.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I'm so. I'm tired, guys. Okay. I don't know what to do. So transport layer security or SSL, basically it encrypts all the segment. I'm just reading it from slides, then I'll try to elaborate what SSL is doing. SSL is basically a secure socket layer. It's a full form of that. And TLS is transport layer security. Basically after SSL 1.3, automatically there was upgradation. Sorry, SSL 3.0. They changed the name of SSL to TLS. So basically why it was done, because the SSL was not considered to be very strong. So there was an attack on SSL, like a downgrade of the protocols. So that's why it was a new form of protocols came into the emergence. So that protocol was called the TLS one. So basically TLS and SSL encrypts a segment of the network. As you can see, it's written over there. So SSL was designed by the Netscape. So SSL, why? Basically, it's a way of communication. So let me see. Let me try to explain you. There is one server, one Google server, and one client, which is X client. So whenever they start with the communication, basically they negotiate some protocols. Before doing anything, they start to like what you want to do, how you want to encrypt the message, which protocol you want to do for encryption, which protocol you want to do for decryption, like this and that. So this was all about SSL. Basically, it's a protocol which is implemented for exchanging of the keys, or how you should communicate securely communicate basically. So these are all the versions of SSL 0, version 1, version 2, and version 3. So Diffie-Hellman, DH means Diffie-Hellman, added for support. You don't have to go through these things. So basically TLS based on SSL version 3.0. So it is using Diffie-Hellman key for the agreement and 3DS for the encryption. So I'll just quickly go over this, and then we'll start with encryption, decryption with the basics of cryptography. So SSL client is there. There is SSL server. Basically, the client will initiate the SSL connection. So if I type here, I'll go step by step with a practical example. If I type google.com here, so basically my browser is going to ask google.com, okay, Google, I am going to start the communication. I'm going to start. Let's start the communication. So client initiate the SSL connection. This, when you see the lock here, when you see something like this is connection is secure. This is basically because the keys are exchanged. So when you say here the google.com, so we need to press enter. If you see the lock here, okay. So what happened when I press enter? So what exactly? The server sent the digital certificate. So now Google, what it sent? Google sent its certificate. Certificate is valid. Okay. So Google said, okay, take my certificate. Certificate will contain the keys. Basically, it will contain the public key and selected cipher suit. Cipher suit means when basically when they are communicating, when this client, me, I'm communicating with Google. So Google sent me, okay, let's do the public key exchange with this protocol, private key exchange with this protocol, and like that. So client, then me, I will send the encrypted shared secret. So we'll talk about this. Wait for a while. We'll explain exactly. Then when this web page came over the web, it was encrypted with with some private key, and my browser decrypted this with private key, and then the session keys were generated. I know it's kind of not clear with everyone. It's okay for now. Before this thing, let's jump to cryptography. It's the most important. So after cryptography, we'll again jump back to this TLS and HTTP. So after that, I will again explain the whole situation, and then you will say, okay, now it's clear. Now it's very much making sense, because right now you don't know about the private key, public key, what we are doing. Okay. So what is cryptography? What is symmetric key? We'll talk about this cryptography now. So it has been used everywhere. Again, it was there with from a long time. Cryptography was invented a way long before. Have you ever seen like the kings and who used to send the messages? So they used to like encrypt the message. Basically, they used to send hello, because the kings don't want the other king to see the intermediate, the persons who are in between, who are transferring the message via road, or they don't want the guy to see the message, so they used to encrypt. That was so much ancient from time the encryption was happening. So like for example, like A was replaced with B was replaced with C was replaced with D, like that. This is all about the cryptography, just making the sensible data nonsense in the nonsense form. So I mean, like one data hello is making sense to me, but if I say XYZ MBR, which is making no sense, that's called a cryptography. You are just changing the data form. So cryptography deals with the creating the documents that can be shared secretly over the public communication channels. So the kings, what they were using, if one king used to communicate with the other, so he used to type something on the paper or whatever they used to have. So they don't write exactly what they have to do. They used to just write something else, and the other guy used to make sense out of that data. So this was all about cryptography. Now still even we have a lot of monuments, a lot of ancient Egyptian people who have written on the stones. They have encrypted that. So they are trying to decrypt till now all the books and all. So cryptanalysis is code breaking, basically when you try to decrypt something. So cryptology, again, combination of cryptography. Cryptography means encryption, and cryptanalysis means you are trying to break that. So that's called as, this term is called as cryptology. So it's a function of plain text and cryptography key. Basically, if you take some plain text, C means ciphertext. So ciphertext equal to, let me again go to Notepad. Let me change the format, font. Let's try to make it big. So ciphertext, some kind of function. In function, I will have one plain text and key. So for example, let's take a one simple example. So let's say the plain text is something like, sorry, no, let's say BDF. It's good. So BDF. So suppose the key is +3. I say the key is +3. Key equals to +3. So what will happen? The ciphertext will be function of cipher equals to function of plain text, which is BDF, comma +3. Now what does +3 mean? +3 means if you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. So A will be replaced by preceding 3 character spaces, I would say. So A is getting replaced with, so for example, +3 means, let's try to with D +3. B will be replaced with D will be replaced with F. D will be replaced with G. E will be replaced with plus 3. If it's minus 3, it will go to maybe X, maybe Y. This will go to B will be replaced Z, A, something like that. This is plus 2, by the way. This will go to X. So if it's minus 3, it will be like this. So this is Y, this is Z, this will be A, this is B, like that. Clear to all?
Mhm.
So now what will be the ciphertext for this? So what is the ciphertext for this one? This two. So type ciphertext will be, for B will be replaced by E.
E.
And D will be replaced by something, I don't know. I have to write it somewhere.
G.
Yeah, G. And F will be replaced by
I.
I. So EGI is the ciphertext. So for the plain text, this. So for the plain text, this one. Ciphertext is this one. This is the way of encryption. So this is one example. C is equal to function. So function could be anything. Function could be plus 3, minus 3. Like function is the key is 3. We can write it as add or subtract, something like that. So it will be clear to you. So typical scenario, Alice wants to send a secret message to bot. What are the possible problems? So data can be intercepted. Someone in between can see the data. So that's why the encryption came into the picture, the whole one. So secure key establishment. So the problem was now the data is from this situation. I can see that if someone is in between trying to, because I sent BDF to someone. So if someone's read EGI, so he cannot make sense. He cannot say like BDF is something or like that. So what happens? There is a key associated. So now how this guy will know the key? So if we send the key over the internet, suppose the guy somehow sniffs the key, basically he knows the key, he eavesdrop this key. So he will start making the sense of it out of data, right? Suppose I am sending, suppose here we were talking about this. So basically they were establishing some kind of keys. So those keys also need to be encrypted with something. So this is an infinite loop going on, right? So again, those keys he has to send again, that will also be encrypted. Okay, guys, is it making sense a little?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So Alice has a key basically, and Bob should have the key. They should know, both of them should know that this is plus 3. This is plus 3. If Alice knows and Bob doesn't know, Bob cannot decrypt the message. If Alice knows and Bob knows, like they cannot communicate it securely basically. So Alice, then Bob doesn't, if Bob doesn't have the key, suppose Bob will ask Alice, what is the key? Then Alice will send the key. So if he sends the key over the plain text, again, the same problem. The attacker will know the key and attacker will start to encrypt and decrypt the messages, right? This is a problem. So now to make sure both of them should have the key. So we'll try to see how these keys are also getting established, how they're trying, how we are trying to even encrypt those keys. So this cryptography can do a lot of things. It can have the digital signature is one of the practical implementation, anonymous communication, anonymous digital cash. So also like digital cash, Bitcoins is all based on this whole technology. So Bitcoins, have you heard of cryptocurrency and all this? These all are based on hashing. I have done like the whole course on Bitcoins. Believe me, it's very interesting. If someone wants to know about Bitcoin, just let me know. It's all about hashing. how you do the hashing, how the ledgers are made, how the Merkle trees are born out of that. We'll talk about this. But this, guys, this is Bitcoin. The whole cryptocurrency technology is based on hashing. So hashing is based on cryptography. All of the hashing is cryptography. So basically, you are just trying to hash, making the nonsense data, then trying to do things. So also elections. So what they do. So what they do normally, so normally in the elections, everything, if the voter says yes or no, so we don't want to expose the voter name, or we don't want to expose like what voter said yes or no. So we can encrypt the yes with some nonsense number, and encrypt the no with some nonsense number every time. And we can also encrypt and decrypt the names so that intermediate people cannot see, like, because this is like you're breaking the confidentiality. Who voted whom? Suppose like I voted like some kind of liberal, and you voted someone else. And if these guys knows, and they can tomorrow ask you like, okay, you voted for this, and how, like, you told that you're going to vote for this candidate. So elections are very much confidential. So that's why this whole cryptography is used there. So we try to make the data in some kind of nonsense form, which doesn't make any kind of sense to anyone. And then whosoever are authorized, they can decrypt it with the key. Okay. Clear? Any questions till now?
No, so far so good.
Guys, any question? Okay. So ciphers means basically encrypted text or encrypted document or encrypted file is called a cipher. So just make sure you know about this term. Cipher means encrypted. So this is cipher. So this is plain text. Let me just put it in the right way. EGI. Okay. So cipher is EGI. Okay. So plain text is BDF. So always make sure you know about what is cipher. Cipher will always be the function of plain key, plain text with the key. So you're making a something which is not making sense to anyone. So that's called a cipher. So we had like history with the ciphers. We basically had a substitution cipher. In that case, we replace alphabet with another character of the same alphabet set. So like we have alphabet set of A to Z. So we replace A with something else, B with something else, C with something else, like that. So it's example Caesar cipher, which exactly, so we have 26 by 26 table because we have 26 characters from A to Z in the table. So we try to rearrange them, for example, here. So let me tell you one example. So in substitution cipher, what happens? So randomly I will do is I will replace A with X, B with, I will have some kind of table. B with some, let me show you something here. Let me show you, create a document and create a table in front of you. So table, so A is with X, B is replaced with some random character T, replaced with some random character F, D is replaced. There is no sense, like randomly I'm just replacing. So E is replaced with H, M. So if I tell you that encrypt A, B, C, so this will be A, B, C will be
XDF.
Yeah, XTF, right? So now what do you think? How I can break this cipher? So if if suppose you get XTF, so how you can break that? So you just get
access to the table.
Hmm?
if you have access to the table?
No, you don't have access to the table. You suppose, let's try to put it in the next page. So you just have XTF, and you have a lot of document, like a big text like going on and all. So XTF and like this is something you received. You are man in the middle. Always remember you are an attacker. Always, whenever I say something, you just have to imagine you are an attacker. So you have to attack this. You want to know, like, suppose this contains someone's credit card information, and you are the attacker. You want to steal this. Okay. So this is the data which is flowing. So you captured this data with the Wireshark, and just give me this important call going on. हाँ जी नमस्ते मैम. बढ़िया बढ़िया मैम आप बताओ.
Carlos?
Did you decrypt it, Francis?
I'm watching you.
It's very easy.
No.
Guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the call was important. So suppose this is kind of a lot of data is there. So this is how you can break the substitution cipher basically. So you have this kind of data flowing. So in that case, you will use the frequency of English letters. Okay. So you have that. Let's go to Wikipedia. Let's copy this. So now you will see that B is in this data. We saw that B was appearing 36 times. Okay. We saw that U was appearing 33 times in the whole this data. Okay. P was appearing 32 times. NC was appearing 11 times. PU was appearing this times, and UKB was appearing 6 times. So we will go to the Wikipedia and we will see frequency of letters. So frequency of English letters. So letter frequency, it's very common table. We see that A is 8%, E is this percent. We saw that the most common alphabet used in the English dictionary was the E. The second most was used was A. The third most was this. So we'll try to replace this with our cipher text. Basically, this is the cipher text. We'll try to replace B with A, basically, because A is the most common. Sorry, B with E. Basically, E is the most used English alphabet. So after that, we'll try to make some block of words, like we'll concatenate two words and try to see how many appeared. And this whole information is available in the internet all the time. And which dictionary, where it appeared the most, which alphabet is used most, like that. So there is a whole matrix of that. And after that, when you try to decrypt, so it will give you the exact answer. Clear? So normally this will come out to be some kind of word like hi, my name is like Vimal. I'm going to give you a presentation on security, like that, something. This whole will start making some sense. And from that, you can just see, because you don't have this table, you don't have the key. So this is how you can break the substitution cipher. Okay. This is normally used, and this was one of my project to make a program which will break the substitution. So we have to basically start with the we give the input, we give the plain text, we give the encrypted text, and then we have to find like what was the decryption of the text. So this was one of the program which we made I made in the one of my project. So I hope it's clear to you, like what is substitution cipher and how we can break it. Later on, we'll come to more of the protocols, more of the ciphers. So now we have too much advanced because these are also like these vulnerable basically. So we have other ciphers. We'll talk about that. So in this case, transposition cipher, basically the letters are rearranged. We have a big matrix of letters. So we try to rearrange those letters. It's similar to substitution cipher. So, but in the modern crypto algorithms which we have, we basically there are some things designed for the encryption and decryption. One thing is it should be mathematical related. The key should be mathematical related, which is performing encryption and decryption. Algorithms should be public. So whatever the algorithms we are using in the cryptography, they should be public. They should be available to all. So again, the second, analyzed by public community to show there are no weaknesses. So we cannot hide the algorithms basically in the modern cryptography. So here we can hide the algorithms in the ciphers the previously shown. But nowadays, whatever using, everything is public. So if you want to see the implementation of SHA-256 RSA algorithm, Diffie-Hellman algorithm, everything is public. So we'll talk about encryption. So process of transforming, So process of transforming plain text to the ciphertext. So used in everywhere, used in application for the secure email. Okay, encryption is used for secure email, database session and messaging, used in SSL. So I have not continued the SSL because before that you need to know about the encryption very clearly, algorithms. It's also used in the network layer in the IPsec. So we're in here we are trying to secure all three layers, these three layers. Benefits of good encryption, basically resistant to cryptography attacks. They support variable long key scalability. There is no avalanche effect, no export of restrictions. This is a theory. Again, plain text. Suppose we have some plain text, we'll encrypt it with the key basically. Again, you should know the purpose of key basically. It will transform the text into something else, ciphertext. Then the guy who has a key will decrypt it and he has a plain text. Clear? Symmetric key algorithm, very important. So in symmetric key, whatever uses a single key, basically whatever key you used for encryption will be used for decryption. Whatever key you used for encryption will be used for decryption. For example, take an example of your lock at home. So whenever you lock the door, the same key you lock, the same key you unlock the door, right? So door is a security for you, right? So what happens in this case, symmetric key, symmetric means same, symmetric means same. Same key algorithm uses one key for encryption as well as decryption. So also known as the secret key. So whenever you're using the Wi-Fi connection, oh God, my laptop is getting heated. Okay, anyways, so if you talk about this Wi-Fi, when last time I showed you the shared secret here, so this guy is using the symmetric key basically. So the key is, sorry, where it is. Okay. So when I tried to so also known as the secret key algorithm, the key must be kept as a secret. Oops, sorry. Carlos. Okay, the key must be kept as a secret to maintain the security. The key is known as the private key. Basically, I choose the key. I am communicating with someone. So I choose that some random digit. For example, this could be a key. So I can say that key is equal to. So this is a key. This key is used for encryption as well as for decryption. So this is example of symmetric key. So follows the traditional form of cryptography with the key from 40 digit of key. So this key can range from 40 bit to 256. for example. Nowadays we have more, so you don't have to. So security, I'll give you one example. Can you hear me? I hear a lot of noise. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a key length, 20 to 256 bits of key we can have in the symmetric key. Basically, what happens, the key, whenever the key size is more, the security. Can anyone explain me this concept? Anyone can just guess. If the key length is more, sorry, not size, or the security. So basically, if the key is, for suppose 40 bits, so basically what it's gonna do is, let me show you. So if I have A, basically, so if I use 40 bit of key, then it's gonna transform this A to something like 40 bits. So let's say this is 40 bits. Let's make it a 0100. Sorry, 1101. Okay. So if I used key equals to 40 bits, so A, if I'm encrypting A, if I'm encrypting the A, so it's going to be used as this one, as a, suppose this whole is 40 bits. So this whole is 40 bits. So what next thing, this will goes to like decimal, you know, ASCII code, ASCII, so which will transform to like this. So finally the output is this. So A got encrypted with 40 bit of key, and it resulted into some 40 digits of random characters. We converted this and it comes out to be D. Then we decrypt with the 40 bits of key, and it comes out to be A, capital A. Clear? So if I say the key is 256 A, so it will come out to be, sorry. So this one will become as, this is 40, and this one will be 256 now, 256 bits. Okay, so when you go to ASCII characters, and then it will become as something like this block. Okay, now tell me, I say that if the key length is more, the security is more. Why?
Because the longer it is, the harder it is to decrypt.
Exactly. So it's harder to decrypt. The smaller one, we can see all the possible combinations of when I have it. I have this. I will try to see. I will try to encrypt. Some other random characters. I'm trying to decrypt A and matching the value with this one, because I see, as an attacker, I can see this value. I have to generate A out of that. So what I will do, I will try to encrypt B and try to match this value with here. And then I will try to encrypt C with the algorithm, because the algorithm is public, you know. C, then I will try to match it. Then I will try to see D, and like that. Or I can do the reverse. I'll try to decrypt this one with some key, some 40 bits of key. So suppose the key is 40 bits, and the key is like, I haven't typed the key. So this key is 40 bits. And when I perform the function here, and it result into, sorry, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. So when I perform some operations, let's make it very clear. Draw. So here, so when I perform some operation, the key was 40 bits. So I encrypted A with 40 bits, and it comes out to be this one. Finally, 40 bits of ciphertext. This is a ciphertext. This is a plain text. Okay. So then I try to once it is done, so it comes out to with this value. Okay. So but whereas whenever I encrypt the key with some 256 bit, so whatever the size is of the key, the message, the ciphertext will be of the same size. So basically, when I encrypt something with the 256 bit of key, so something like 256 bits I will get. So we can have a lot of other possibilities. We'll talk about this. But as per NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology, what they say. So basically, if the key length is less than 112 bits, basically the encryption is not secure. Basically, they say that if the bits are less than 112, it is vulnerable to the brute force attack. According to National Institute, this key might be increased in future. This key might be 128 bits or 256 bits. So maybe in future the computers are so much highly powerful so that they can break this this situation, this scenarios also. Basically, what we are trying to see is we'll try to compute all the possible combinations. So if we have 40 bits of key, 40-bit key, so the number of possible combinations are 2 raised to power 40. Okay. But if it's 112, so it's 2 raised to power 112. So let me give one more example to you. It will be more clear. So let's don't know how to come out of that. Control N. Okay, guys. I know for now it's getting a bit confusing. Let me tell you one thing. I am giving you one example, so you have to tell me the answer. Okay. So if I have I tell you I have a pin code. I give you one example. This is a pin code. It's 3 spaces. Okay. It can be either 0 or 1. Okay. So how many possible combinations I can have? So here I can have either 0. How many total possible combinations I can create out of that? I can have like 0, 0, 1. It's 3 characters basically. I can have 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0. Do you know about this thing, right?
Yeah, it's 2 to the power something.
Exactly.
2 power 3.
2 power 3. Okay, very good. So it's going to be 2 power 3. These are the possible combinations. Okay, for that. If I have 40 bits of key, so it's 2 power
40.
So this all possible combination of keys, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yep.
So if I have like a CPU with i7 and memory with like 64 GB or something like that, and a good graphic card GPU, so I can compute all the possible keys values if it's 40-bit key. Suppose I am attacker knows that it's 40-bit key. Okay. So attacker is trying to guess. So he will try to first combination, he will try to decrypt with first one 0 1 0 0 1 0 1. So what he will try, he can try all the 2 power 40 combinations. But if the key size is 256, that means 2 raised to power 256. Possible? Am I right? Guys, is it clear? Is it making sense? So let's try to Google something. How big is 2 power 256? Okay, it's the first answer is, so what exactly is 2 power 256? Well, if being technical, it's this much value. I'm trying to zoom it. Why it's not able to zoom? Come on. Okay. So just read these kind of articles, how much secure it's 256. So it's too big. Basically, you cannot calculate all the possible combinations. There are not even stars in galaxy. This number is so big that even you cannot compute. No supercomputer can till now able to reach this value with the certain constraint of time. So basically, when you have key of 256 bit, basically, so you're trying to take all the you're trying to brute force all the possible keys. So the number of possible keys are so big that not even big supercomputers can compute the key. So this is why it's called the better the length of key, the more the size of key, the better the security. That's why they tell you that use 8 characters password, because the combinations will increase. Because 8 characters is not 8 characters. It's basically how many bits you can't even imagine. If it's more than like 112 bits. So that's why 8 characters is more secure. Is it clear?
Yep.
Yes.
So basically, a system is always in the bits and bytes. They always think as a zeros and ones. They don't see anything as a characters. If I tell you that my password is 8 characters or 10 characters, something like that, it is not basically understanding that part. It's just understanding zeros and ones. So the better the key, the better the password, the lengthier the password. So it's more better the chances that you won't be prone to the brute force attack. So it's most common type of attack. They try to check the key like X, Y, Z, like that. So I guess it's clear, right? I hope that. Any doubts till now? I mean, any kind of confusion?
Nope.
So this is like this is guys, this is again base. So very important to know. So symmetric key, plain text, again shared key. This key is shared with the user, suppose X and Y, both of them. So they encrypt with one key and they decrypt with the same key, basically. So example is DES, data encryption standard, is a block cipher. Used shared key encryption of 56 bit. Is it secure? No. Is DES secure? Let's try to Google. Okay, is it secure or no? Yes or no?
No.
Why? Because the key length is less than 112. So if I type DS is not secure. So there are a lot of flaws in that. You can read about that. You can see the differences why it's not secure. So if you see here, so 56 bit key is too short. Do you see here? Guys, this kind of questions they will ask you in the interview, that is DES secure? If yes, if not, why not? So it's vulnerable to the brute force search. Clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So AES is replacement for DS. Every time we are using AES algorithm, it's currently standard. I give you one example of AES. I'm using VPN right now. Okay, let me see the logs of VPN. So let's try to see Control A. Sorry, font Introduced to 22. So don't have anything here. Do I have anything here? No. Okay. Still, I will show you something here. So whenever I'm trying, have you ever installed OpenVPN? Anyone installed OpenVPN? Yes, no.
Mm.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
Anyone installed
Yes.
OpenVPN?
Yes.
Did-
All of us installed.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Yeah,
ever
because we
try
have
Yes.
to?
yeah.
Did you ever try to go inside program files and check what is the configuration of OpenVPN? If you go to this one, if you go to the config, if you see here, the cipher is AES 112. And NCP cipher is this one. Make sense? Okay. This is the whole configuration of OpenVPN, this file. So basically, if I open this file, you will see a lot of details. It means the device is tunnel. Basically, it's a tunnel mode. I will try to explain what it says. So persistent tunnel, persistent key, cipher is AES, Advanced Encryption Standard 128-bit. So CBC is an advanced form of AES, which nowadays it's used. So NCP cipher is used in the global cyclic mode. So authentication authorization is using SHA-1 secure hash algorithm. TLS client resolved remote. It's trying to connect to the college IP with this port with the UDP protocol. Local port is 0. Username authentication is using username and password. And CA certification authority is this one. .crt local certificate and remote is this. So this is the whole configuration of VPN. Clear? So these are algorithms which are used for encryption and encryption. So let's try to see if I can see something with the google.com if I see then any kind of encryption over there. Let's try to see. So if I type something here, does it show any kind of certificate details? So guys, signature algorithm here is SHA-256. SHA is a hashing algorithm. So everywhere you will see algorithms now. So everywhere encryption, decryption, public key, which protocol it's using. Even in the Wireshark, you will see AES, DES, what kind of encryption it's using, what kind of key size. So all of them you will see it. So RC4, it's a stream cipher. So there is a difference between stream cipher and block cipher. So block cipher, what it will do, it will just encrypt whole block. So this is 64-bit block, suppose. So this is a block. This is one block. This is second block. So it will encrypt block by block. This is first block. This is second block. So this is called as a block cipher. Whereas stream cipher is one by one. One, it will encrypt to 0, 0, it will encrypt to 0, 1, it will encrypt to 1, like that. So there are some random XOR or NAND operations which are performed for this kind of encryptions. So these are all the examples of symmetric key encryptions. So here is the size. DS using 56-bit, triple DS 112, AES 128, 192. AES is very important. We'll try to see the implementation of AES very soon. And again, block cipher and stream cipher. So here is the difference. Just go through it. I've explained you here. So these are the example of block ciphers. These are all the algorithms which we are using for encryption of block cipher. Stream cipher uses small unit of plain text. Then we use the blocks. These are all the 3DS and software encryption algorithm seal is used here in the stream cipher. I'm just focusing more on RSA, AES, and Diffie-Hellman and DES and Diffie-Hellman. So this is an illustration of DES algorithm. So one assignment for you. So just see about AES algorithm, how it works. I'll try to publish the links here. So we'll talk about it. Uh, right now, I'm gonna just show you how we can encrypt and decrypt the file in Kali Linux. How this actually works. So one of the small practical I'm going to show you is I'll go through Kali. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just watch it here. What I'm going to do. If you see, this is the Kali Linux which I've installed in the Windows itself. If you really want to know, there is in the store itself. If you go to store, if you see Kali or any Linux, it's there. You can install from there. But VirtualBox, you get the. This is like free for Microsoft Windows 10. Or if I want to like Ubuntu, I have everything here on the. I can install it like just like as a store app. So this Kali I have installed here. I have not used VirtualBox. I'm just using my own machine because I don't want GUI based Kali. So I just installed. But if you really want, once it comes to some kind of practical implementation in the GUI graphical user interface mode, so I'm going to use this machine and I have Kali already installed in my VMware. So no problem with that. So I have all the labs present, but because this is a small practical, so I would just like you to show you something here. So ls, so OpenSSL. So OpenSSL is one of the open implementation of all the keys basically. So whenever you're doing encryption and decryption over the web, so whenever you're sending, so this guy is sending some information and this is some kind of implementation. This is a protocol. Whole keys are getting exchanged. Whole encryption and decryption is happening. So OpenSSL is one of the implementation of this all. So imagine that your server has OpenSSL. So it's going to generate some keys. It is OpenSSL is basically the one who's generating the keys of symmetric keys, asymmetric keys, private keys, public keys, random numbers. Everything will be generated by OpenSSL. Just for example, so we'll talk about this. For example, I have whole documentation ready where it is. How many tabs I have? Oh God. Okay, we'll go through OpenSSL. Just OpenSSL. If we talk about this, so I guess I have the documentation of the library. I guess this one. No, just let me go through something. Nope. Okay. Anyways, before that, I'll talk about how to encrypt the file in Kali. Just see my screen. I'm going to do something. I'm gonna.
Is this gonna work if we install the graphic interface?
Yes. It's exactly the same thing. Exactly same thing. If you go to the terminal of Kali Linux, okay, let's do it that way. I guess you'll get confused in here. Let's do it that way. Just give me 1 minute. I have to do like this and share my screen again. And I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to desktop. Something happened with my system. Okay, in the Zoom, MSTSC 58. So I guess I have VMware Workstation. Guys, you can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so I have the Kali Linux here. I'm gonna power on this machine. Guys, it is exactly same thing. Believe me, if you go to the production means if you go to the real company, so they will never give you the Linux like this. They will never give you the console of the GUI. They will always give you the session. You will take the putty session and it will look like this, something like this. Once you're from the putty, once you are event you inside, so it will look like this, something like this kind of terminal. So you will get the IP and just the terminal, nothing more than that. So GUI is just for your comfort. GUI, graphical user interface, is just for you. So I guess all of you have this, right? Oops.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Is it better for us to do it? I mean,
No,
yeah.
no, no. You do it here only, GUI only, because it's the first time. So very soon you will get comfortable with the other ones, terminals and all when you start with. So you have this one, right?
Yeah.
So I can see now if I want to create a file, which command it is used. I can use touch command,
It
right?
was like, yeah.
Yes.
So in the touch command, I can see that vimal.txt is there, right? So
Touch.
now I'm gonna use Vimal. Let's try to open it. So if I open it with Nano Editor, Vimal, just see what I'm doing. Just don't try to do it side by side. Just see and let me know. Let me do it full screen. So you see the screen, right?
Yes.
Suppose nano.txt, I'm opening a text editor. Nano is a text editor which is used in the Linux, any Linux environment like Ubuntu. So I'm gonna type my important passwords. Uh, QWERTY 123. So one of the password is like this. This is very important file for me. One password is QWERTY. One password is Vimal at 656. One password is my assignment 3. Okay, so I'm gonna save it somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna save it Control O, right? Vimal.txt, Windows X. So if I open this file, from cat, you can open the file vimal.txt. So if you see the passwords, I've saved these passwords, all these passwords. Now, if I want to encrypt this file, I don't want anyone to see this file. What I can do, I can use this GPG space minus C. Let's see if I have GPG or not. Go ahead, no, next slide. I have it. So GPG. So if you want to see something, some GPG is a package which is doing the encryption and decryption by default in the Kali Linux. So in the GPG, you have to input the sum of the arguments. If I do GPG space minus C, or let's try to see first help. Let's try to see the help. So it will describe about the GPG. So anything you are not understanding in any Linux, just type hyphen help. So it will show you everything. So from here, it's showing me like what do you want. So what it is doing. So this is a free software. Okay. So supported algorithms are public key, RSA, ELG, DSA, EDS, or all the algorithms which are supported. Ciphers supported are IDEA, 3DES, CASP, Blowfish, AES. So this is what we are concerned with. AES 256, 2Fish. These are all the new algorithms which are there in the market. So you can learn more about that. We'll talk about this. Hashing algorithms which are supposed as SHA-1, SHA-256, SHA-348, SHA-512, SHA-224, like that. Compression is this. So you have everything. So plus we have arguments. Minus S means you have to make a signature if you want to sign a document. Minus C means symmetric encryption, encrypts with the symmetric cipher. That's why I'm using my -C. I want to encrypt this file with the symmetric key, right? Clear? -D means
Yes.
decrypt the file. So if you want to verify the signature, you can do like this. So is it clear to everyone?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So this is a practical implementation just now, whatever we did for the encryption. Guys, are you tired or something?
Well,
Could you show us the result of the encryption or?
Wait, wait,
GP
wait,
what?
wait. So what I'm going
G
to do is I'm going to do GPG. It's a package again. -C for symmetric key. So I'm going to write the name of the file. What was the file name? Vimal.txt. So when I press enter, it says enter the password which you want to encrypt with. Now I'm going to give my password. So I can also say this password in the password manager. This is my secret. So I just gave my password. Okay. So it says re-enter the password. I have done it. Now if I type ls, I say that vimal.txt.gpg. Now this thing I can save in the cloud anywhere. So now what I will do, I will delete rm vimal.txt. So now ls. I just ls space minus l. So I have this vimal.txt.gpg file, which is encrypted form. So now if I try to open this, let's try to open cat vimal.txt.gpg. So do you see this random text?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Does it make sense? No, because it is encrypted. Right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If I want to decrypt this file, I will just type gpg space the name of file and so
-D hyphen D.
very good. So I guess the password was saved, so that's why it's showing me the content. So now if I type ls, so I have the vimal.txt again. I just removed it, but I have it again. Now if I want, I can cat vimal.txt. I can see the contents again. So this is how you can encrypt the files using this package. This is very, very small implementation just to show you like what does the ciphertext means, what are the algorithms, how they are supported. I mean, this is just to make you understand what in the practical example going on. You shouldn't start to imagine things, just see here and it should make sense to you. Is it clear?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So from here, from GPC, you can just see all the arguments. You can try whatever you want. You can output something else if you want to export the keys, import the keys. Everything is there. You can verify. You can list the secret keys. Just try to do some practicals on this. This is a part of, I guess, what we call LMS. We called it as LMS, right? Hello.
Yeah.
I guess everyone slept. How many people we have? I guess. Let's see how many people we have. Oh, we have 10. Guys, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna take a break and tell me, did you understood anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Is it boring or what?
No, it's not boring.
The theory is a bit long, so
Sorry?
the theories are a bit complicated and a bit long, so
Yeah,
we're
you
still
have to
Yeah,
do it.
processing
If
those.
you want to crack an interview, you cannot go. You cannot just skip the theory.
Yeah.
They will ask you for any kind of explanation. If they ask you for substitution cipher, you cannot say I don't know. I've never done the practice. So some things you have to know. That's for sure.
Yes.
If I ask you about single sign-on or attack, denial of service attack, how you can do this, how what is brute force, if you don't know that terms, you are nothing in security then. You cannot. So just let me know once you're done. You can just ask me. Try to encrypt and decrypt the files, and also try to see the. We'll try to implement this OpenSSL in the next lecture because TLS is yet to be done. So any doubts till now?
No, but you said that you're gonna put the PDF on, not the PDF, the PowerPoint on Omnivox, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna do it right now. Just after this lecture, I'll put all the slides.
Okay,
So you
good.
can go through the slides and
Okay.
whatever we are doing the practical examples for all the websites, everything. So that's not available in the slides. Slide is just for the reference, but the
Yep.
class is the actual one which everything will be done uh, with the relevance.
Okay.
So for now, just try to encrypt the files, decrypt the files. Try to see the one of the tasks you have to see do is just let me put it on in the Teams. I will put everything in the Teams and then just start doing that. Doing that. I'm gonna give you the tasks for a few minutes. Just open Kali Linux and explore a little bit here and there. Okay, for you today, I have something. Guys, would you like to do something on your own? If I give you some task, would you be able to perform that?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, please.
You can try.
I'm typing in the channel basically. So I want you to install Putty. Okay. Try to take SSH of Kali Linux. In that case, you have to open ports of firewall. Port 22 needs to be open. So Guys, can you all hear me?
Yep.
So this is what I want you to do. Okay. I mean, your lab for today is like you have to take the session from your local machine. Listen very carefully. The local machine means the machine which you are on right now, laptop. Okay. So I want you to take the putty connection of your Kali Linux, the terminal directly. Okay, like I am doing. Let me show you something. Let's go here. Okay, this is my Kali Linux, right? Can you see the screen, all of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if I type IP space A, so I see the IP address of this machine, Kali Linux. What is my IP address? 172.16.9.92. Do you see this?
Yes.
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 Okay. Now what we do is we go to minimize this. I want you to go to this Windows machine, go to install putty and try to take SSH of this IP. So when I take the SSH, it will say login as root and I will give my password. So once it is done, once I have done it, okay, come on. Okay, I'm access denied. So you need to see that if your ports are open, you need to check the firewall. This is your task. It's 2 steps. I will, if you're not able to do that, just let me know. I will do it for you. Let's try to take it again. 172.169.ssh, login as root, password.
For this part, we don't have to use the user right? We
No,
just
no, no, no. You can
type
log in as root.
directly. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm access is right. I need, maybe I need to some do some commands. System control. Let's try to do install open SSH. SSH. Need to do some. And I need to see that. Guys, there are a lot of articles. I'm gonna send it to you. But I want this task to be done. You might have to read these articles and do it on your own. This is your homework, I would say. But let's. These articles can help you. So you can copy and paste these commands.